Great. So our final session is in between you and a gin and tonic. So I will endeavour to scintillate your imagination and keep those taste buds distracted. It's been a wonderful day here, and maybe in the future artificial intelligence will participate as a citizen in our sessions as we seek to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Who knows? I want to thank Rami and his team for their professional manner and your due diligence in that session to help shape the final session of the day. We could certainly do with that level of professionalism in the UK and help us with Brexit. In 1956, the father of AI, the great John McCarthy, and Turing Award winner, joined with other great scientists, mathematicians, and geniuses for the very first Artificial Intelligence Summit. This spurned a global revolution to research AI, and maybe today this summit will start another global revolution to design, leverage AI dedicated to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals. One of the reasons that the Internet of Things revolution has been so important to humanity is for us to understand the physical world better, to develop a better balance and harmony between our human and our environmental systems. The opportunity could be for that organically enabled data generated from IoT to be used to create new forms of artificial intelligence. It is clear that our human and environmental systems are out of balance. Old paradigms are no longer serving us well, and as such, AI can partner with us to create more efficient and meaningful systems to serve our businesses, to serve our governments, to serve our communities, and to serve the environment. So let's get on to the keynote, how AI can be our partner in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Renowned leaders in AI, such as Ray Kurzweil and Elon Musk, believe that AI will be smarter than humans within the next 10 years. But the other leaders, like Fuli, the great Chinese internet entrepreneur, believe that AI will lack the human instincts of love, intuition, and compassion, which is programmed deeply at the core of our humanity. In reality, the possibility of AI developing same capacities as humans is probably a long way off. Nevertheless, these compassionate-based human values lie at the very heart of the Sustainable Development Goals, enabling social equity, environmental equity, and of course, economic equity for all. The SDGs are created from important human values to encourage society, both global and regional, to strive towards new systems and thus lay the foundation for a more enlightened society that is equipped to move into its future with confidence and together. So how might AI be a partner in achieving our goals? It is becoming clear that humanity has chosen an evolutionary path in partnership with computers, data, and the digital cyber worlds. By design or by accident, we have chosen to develop and rely on the digital world to serve our businesses, our government, our life experiences, and possibly our very evolutionary future. We are on a path into a deeper integration of the organic and digital worlds. This is an incredible opportunity for AI to play the enabling partner. It is the choiceless choice. I was watching a BBC documentary over the weekend titled Human and the Machine. Is this the next phase of human evolution? It shared stories of humans integrating technology with themselves. One guy had a machine that told his brain where north was in order to associate direction with his memories. A couple interlinked their nervous systems so they could share movement together, some kind of telepathic link. Are we heading into a Matrix or a Skynet future where humans and machines are fighting for dominance or even for their very survival? Will robots take over the world as some authors have feared? Will AI develop a consciousness of its own? Intel believes that ambient science will enable data to have awareness of its purpose, a new life form and citizen within society. Maybe. These are some of the questions being pondered by the great minds of today, the philosophers, the priests, the inventors, the scientists, and of course, all the geniuses here today. I believe that our future will be far more interesting and exciting than any restrictive or fear-mongering paradigm. AI has the potential for all of us to embrace more of our humanity rather than lose it. To quote Einstein, "The power of the human imagination is what makes our world go round." Humanity has made incredible progress throughout history, and AI is one of the most exciting innovations in modern history, whilst possibly being the most challenging. We know that AI will convert our business operations and economics into more efficient human and machine paradigms. We know that AI has created breakthroughs in medical innovation, such as detecting Alzheimer's disease or breast cancer earlier. But can AI help make our water and sanitation healthier? Can it provide us with affordable, clean, and resilient energy-based systems? Can AI help with providing effective and personalised education for all? Can it make us more efficient in our societal consumption and production? Can it tackle the challenges of increased urbanisation to provision inclusive, equitable, environmental friendly and sustainable communities for our cities, our regions and our nations? And Lee, that's my definition of smart cities. In short, it has the potential to achieve our goals. With a citizen of the future mindset and a focus on triple bottom line economics, I do believe that the development of AI intelligence will make a huge difference to our businesses, within our society, within our environment, and as such is one of the most exciting innovations yet. AI invites us into new paradigms for our future and will be an enabling partner in the human evolutionary path. However, let's return back from the future and into the reality of today. Here's some statistics about AI. By the year 2025, the global market of AI is expected to be approximately $60 billion. That's an increase from only $1.4 billion in 2016. It's expected to add indirectly $15.7 trillion by the year 2030 into the global GDP. And it is expected to increase our business efficiency by 40%. 70% of the devices that you are using in your life have some feature of AI. Splunk, that great data and cybersecurity business, wrote a report, How Data Will Light Up AI. They interviewed execs from around the world. Here are some stats. 61% of respondents expect AI to guide their business strategy within the next 5 years. That's why AI will guide our SDG strategy. Only 48% say they understand AI very or extremely well. And only 2 nations assess themselves as AI experts, China and the UK. And if the UK said we're experts, we must be experts. So we can see that AI, although early in its evolution, is expected to create a new global economy and change the way we operate as a society. AI can help us to achieve those SDGs. So let's take a look. The Oxford Dictionary defines AI as the following. Can you all see that? Okay, great, thanks. As the theory of development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. I'm just trying to get this to work. Hold on, there we are. All right, let's put that down. Or we could say the purpose of AI is to serve every person within our community, the result of which is that person is protected, supported, and able to thrive in their humanity. It makes sense to define the purpose and role that AI will play for each sustainable development goal. This will help focus on designing the appropriate AI for each challenge. There will be a huge opportunity for innovation and for cross-pollination of ideas and technologies. Generations to come are standing in the wings to judge us on how well we do. So let's embrace Aristotle's Nicomachean ethics and let's be brilliant. So where will AI be located in society? A good way to understand how AI will be located and integrated throughout our business and societal technology systems is using the human body as a reference. After all, this is the model we are using for the majority of AI innovations. The human body operates with distributed intelligence located throughout its physical form, creating a comprehensive experience. We respond to pain, we respond to hunger, we give keynotes, we ask hard questions, we process information and take intelligent action. AI is exactly the same. It will be located and integrated and will operate throughout our digital and ICT technology systems with the goal of supporting human life experiences within the physical world. From platforms and services within the cloud, all the way to an edge device, which could be your Wi-Fi modem, your Alexa, your phone, or even your car. AI will be integrated vertically and horizontally across our ICT technology systems. We will see hybrid models, edge-only services. We will see AI work with other AIs, and even a super AI made up of many other AIs. So within each SDG, where might the DNA of AI partner with systems of today and systems of tomorrow? Is AI primarily located on the mobile phone in developing countries? Is it primarily located across the edge in developed countries? Can AI be developed to deliver all the sustainable development goals within entire cities or communities located within any region? Food for thought. Let's take a quick look at the international landscape for AI. The great Professor Stephen Hawking stated this: computers will overtake humans with AI within the next 100 years. When that happens, we need to make sure that computers, AI, have their goals aligned with ours. That seems like sensible advice. The international competition is fierce, with nations investing huge amounts of dollars in AI research, innovation, technology clusters, and into business. Canada has a national strategy led by Alan Bernstein at CFAR, where they've invested hundreds of millions of Canadian dollars into research and tech clusters in Toronto, Alberta, Montreal, and Vancouver. The UK and European Union is taking the lead, defining approaches and ethics of how AI is developed and used within society. Finland has a grand AI experiment to train its citizens on how to implement and use AI. To quote Mika Lintilä, the economic minister, Finland will never have so much money that we will be a leader of AI, but how we use it, well, that's something different. China is probably leading AI at the moment, and an article in Scientific American stated in 2017 the Communist Party of China has set 2030 as their deadline for them to be a global leader in AI. I'll speak about US leadership in AI a little bit later. And there's many companies that are doing a lot in AI. Cloud with IBM's technology and Deep Blue, Google's AlphaGo that beat the Go champion, 100 games to 0. He did not even win one game. Did the AI have compassion for his loss? No. HPE are an interesting company. They have designed edge and cloud and hybrid ICT infrastructure that will host AI to operate in our cities across the edge, AI to operate in the cloud, AI to operate between the edge and the cloud. So a technology company is building the ICT infrastructure in which AI can exist. Intel and NVIDIA are putting AI in microprocessors and silicon. But let's talk about Elon Musk. He's at it again with the Neuralink Corporation. Instead of heading outward toward Mars, he's heading inwards to the human body by developing implantable brain-machine interfaces. This goal is to begin implanting devices in paralyzed humans, allowing them to control phones or computers. Musk said this: ultimately, he wants to achieve a symbiosis between humans and artificial intelligence. Not everyone agrees with this approach, and you can see why AI ethics plays such an important part in its development and usage. A fundamental topic to note is that nations and organizations wishing to lead AI have a very strong supercomputing and high-performance computing strategy. A supercomputing strategy can determine the success or failure to develop an AI. I don't want to give too much away, you'll have to read the book, but supercomputers can be viewed as the primordial soup to develop new forms of intelligence and, in the years to come, possibly digital life. Okay, let's examine some thoughts from one of the global leaders in AI who believes that AI can save our humanity. Fuli. Has anybody heard of Fuli? Great. He's wonderful, isn't he? He's brilliant. I wanted to share with you thoughts from a TED Talk by the former Apple AI leader and well-known Chinese entrepreneur, Fuli. He's got a portfolio of AI businesses valued at $25 billion. He kind of knows what he's doing. It's a TED Talk worth watching. The title of his talk is this: How AI Can Help Save Our Humanity. This is more of a holistic approach as to how AI can fit into society and serve humans. AI today and in the foreseeable future will not be capable to experience the wonderful emotions such as joy, happiness, or even love. AI is a feelingless intelligence. So how might this feelingless intelligence partner in our businesses and our jobs? This slide is replicated from a TED Talk. So on the left-hand side, we have optimization of repetitive jobs, and on the right-hand side, we have creative and strategic roles, and these are some of the roles that... Wrong one, sorry. I need to put that away. So within 5 years, Fuli thinks that repetitive jobs will be replaced by AI. Routine jobs, he thinks 10 years. And for optimizing jobs, 15 years. But if you're a CEO, or an artist, or an author, or an innovator, AI won't replace you. See you safe. Let's have a look at this slide. These are 4 quadrants. And this is going to explain what his view is, and I agree with him, about how the human and AI partnership will be going forward into our future. And then I'm going to talk to you about the SDGs and how this fits in. So, compassionate-centric economies, maybe we called it triple bottom line economies, and automation with no emotion. And then on the left-hand side, we have optimization, or creative and strategy on the right-hand side. So for these kind of jobs, Fuli thinks that this will primarily be AI-driven and humans will not be needed anymore. For these types of jobs, which are creative and strategic, but needs automation, he thinks AI will play a minor role, but the humans will play a primary role in these jobs. When it comes to compassionate-centric and creative, Fuli thinks AI will be a little bit of a supporter, but primarily human-centric. When we get to this quadrant of compassionate and optimization, this is the sweet spot. This is where AI truly partners with the human, 50% each. And this is really quite interesting. So as we consider how artificial intelligence can be best leveraged to partner for each SDG, we should consider the depth of integration that the human and machine partnership should be. It's important for every single SDG, the overall outcome must be that the human experience is enhanced, not reduced, increasing automation and bringing new intelligence to fishermen, or ensuring fresh water to a community, or a personalised educational programme, or delivering local clean energy, or local food production, or impactful healthcare, are all opportunities where AI can play a powerful role. However, as AI plays a deeper role in optimizing services, we must consider the new types of jobs that AI will create. The jobs of the future. As such, as we integrate AI as our social partner, we must be thoughtful and plan for the opportunities being created for new human roles, jobs, and experiences. But let's talk about culture. As we consider AI as our partner, we should be mindful of the culture of both the individual and the community. We should be mindful not to dictate to the communities the role that AI must play. AI may play a differing role for each major culture. As such, each culture must be involved in the design of a framework that AI will play for every single SDG within their community. This approach encourages communities to come together and develop a collective vision in their society and the extent to which AI will play as their partner. Don't forget, Finland's strategy is to become a programming powerhouse, with every person equipped within society to be taught how to program AI to enhance their life, their community, and that of their nation. Therefore, we must work with and encourage nations to develop their own vision on how AI will realise their societal vision and encourage development of a roadmap for achieving SDGs. Some nations may go slow, others may go much quicker. Before I make a few recommendations, it's important to be aware that there will be tremendous opportunities to cross-pollinate ideas, strategies, and AI technologies across the different SDGs. Collaboration and openness will be fundamental to our success and expedition of outcomes. I propose that we start to frame the purpose and role that AI can play in achieving the SDGs. From the edge to the cloud, the degree of automation, to bringing new intelligence to the human and environmental need and activity. After all, isn't that the question we're asking today? How can AI become an effective partner in co-creating a better future for all? So here are some recommendations. A global steering committee dedicated to AI and the SDGs. A global AI ambassador for every SDG. The time is right to lead the global conversation, provide leadership and launch a global movement to frame and develop an overall strategy that AI can play in achieving the SDGs. This is not an easy step, and we don't want to get down in politics and process. We need agility, budget, freedom of thought for the impact-focused thought leaders to be commissioned and work together to outline a preliminary strategy for AI and the SDGs. There will be an opportunity to create new intellectual property, and I am convinced, new forms of AI. Okay, let's move on to a national AI initiative to tackle one of the SDGs, and that's smart cities. Several months ago, while I was walking in the beautiful countryside of Colorado, pondering the next stage for global innovation, my thoughts started to crystallize around how can we develop the human and AI partnership in order to create meaningful and positive societal impact. How can we ethically deepen this organic and cyber integration and transition into systems of balance, equilibrium, abundance, and potentially harmony. Would this approach resolve some of the global and local issues that we face within our communities? Big questions indeed. Two things became clear. I need to write a book. The second thing that became clear was that smart cities is probably the most appropriate SDG to start with, considering that mass urbanization is a global issue. Smart cities are also a place where we can revisit the conversation about personal data ownership, examine the potential of personal data vaults, experiment with new data economies, and develop new forms of human and AI systems. After all, the built environment is where most humans spend their time. Seems like a sensible move. So let me briefly talk through this. This is the US's first and only, as far as I'm aware, and Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, artificial intelligence cluster dedicated to smart cities. It's in partnership with the NIST, Homeland Security, and NTIA, and is part of the same program that Lee's doing with cybersecurity. Yeah, cybersecurity, great. And basically, this contains an ecosystem of supercomputers within the US. And these folks have analytics, models, and AI that has never been available to the private sector before. Things like smart grid models, things like transportation models, things like moving assets around a very complicated location models, things like regional and national water models. And so the private sector will play a very strong role here in being able to access brand new intellectual property to be able to change the smart city conversation, where you model a challenge such as transportation or carbon net zero or energy net zero or water security or food security or affordable housing or whatever it may be. You model it first on these supercomputers, and then the private sector will have solutions that can play into that model. So now you're buying solutions that you've already modeled before, so you've de-risked the impact. You know the impact is going to happen. This has never been done before. Normally, cities and regions and nations buy solutions without modeling, and they test it all. This cluster changes the entire conversation. We've changed the quickness of being able to model challenges and then basically deploy advanced analytics solution sets such as smart transportation or public safety or wherever it may be, or smart grid, and also AI for these new challenges that we're facing. And so this is just a little bit about the ecosystem. Supercomputers that will enable the private sector to be able to use these models to model large-scale digital transformation and tackle some of the SDGs that we are trying to resolve by 2030 today. A marketplace of solutions from the private sector that can resolve those issues, whether it's smart grid or new types of transportation or new forms of mobility or new types of public safety, it doesn't really matter. Having a partner ecosystem for the private sector is very, very important. Governance, policy, and ethics are going to be very important. So we're going to be examining new types of data economies. We're going to be examining new types of blueprints for AI in smart cities. We're also going to be able to take huge data sets from cities and regions, put them in the supercomputers, train the analytics from those data sets, deploy the analytics back into the city and region, at which point then they're now optimizing at a much more efficient rate. But it doesn't stop there. We basically keep on training those analytics and AI engines with that data that's continually coming from the city and region to keep those AI and those analytics engines super optimized. This has never been done before. And so we also are going to be looking at digital twin, which I'll be speaking to briefly, and also into new blueprints and a new term that I call smartcity.ai, which is a new ICT architecture and blueprint for smart cities. So we're going to be building repositories of AI and supercomputing models. Carbon net zero and new energy grids, water and waste management, transportation and edge intelligence, ambient science I'm going to speak to in a minute, and also digital twin, new AI architectures, and these new transformation models. And this repository has never been available to the private sector before, so this is really quite interesting. And also the private sector will bring in their AI and their advanced analytics in order for us to have a whole marketplace of solutions that may be more relevant to developing countries than opposed to developed countries. That could be price point, it could be ICT approach, it could be a number of things. So this is really new. No one else in the US has done this. I don't think anybody else in the world's done this. So really, we're very excited around this new AI tech cluster. And I'm happy to share more with you. And the federal government have backed it, which is cool. Let's talk about the digital twin. And there's about 3 or 4 slides, so don't worry, keep going. Digital twin plays an important role developing AI. As we consider building AI to support realization of sustainable development goals, a robust digital twin strategy is an imperative part of that. A digital twin is a digital replica of a living or non-living physical entity. By bridging the physical and virtual worlds, data is transmitted seamlessly, allowing the virtual entity to coexist and partner with the physical entity. For example, a physical city will have a living digital version of itself. A physical renewable energy system will have a digital version of itself. The environment can have a digital version of itself. A manufacturing plant can also have a digital version of itself, and so on. And this is an important innovation. Building dynamic digital version of a physical ecosystem enables the 2 ecosystems, one organically centric, the other digital centric, to work together to ensure optimal performance of services for an individual, for a business, and for a community. But the benefit of a digital twin does not stop there. Digital twin provides a data strategy to develop new forms of AI. The huge tranches of data that create a digital twin can be viewed as the very DNA that can be used to develop and train new forms of AI. Thus, for every single sustainability development goal, we need to develop the right digital twin strategy. If we do, we can leverage that data to develop, train, and deploy AI throughout an ICT ecosystem where AI will act as an effective partner for that SDG. As part of our leadership, we must decide what is our strategy for data ownership and its rights. Europe has led the conversation around GDPR and the right to be forgotten. California is following suit. These are good starts, but I believe we must go further and consider the benefits of a deeper form of data ownership and rights, and the benefits that would bring to the individual and to the communities. Could data be the new currency of the future? Would this provide everyone with a financial income? Data ownership and ethics is a global conversation, and we have the opportunity to lead. Vast lakes of data will be important for developing both a personal digital twin and also the SDG digital twins. Sorry about that. As we consider building artificial intelligence to support the realization of sustainability goals, this digital twin strategy is going to be fundamental. Data ownership and ethics is a global conversation, and we absolutely need to lead that. So let's talk about a new innovation in AI called ambient science from Intel and IEEE, as well as a term I call human.ai, which is your personal digital avatar, the digital self of an individual. I want to thank Kathleen Wolcott, the Intel CTO for ambient science, for sharing some of this content. Intel believe that the digital twin DNA could enable data to become aware of its purpose and then operate as a new citizen within society. Ambient digital twin is a digital representation of a human in the cyber physical world. This is coming. This is happening. These are becoming standards. It's important as we consider how AI plays in sustainable development goal achievement that we have a voice in this and leverage this innovation for the social good. Let me share some ideas with you. It will be wonderful to hear your feedback on this. Let me introduce a new term called smartcity.ai. This could be a new model for AI with huge opportunities for innovation and also can be replicated across other SDGs. Here we have the human digital self, or what I call human AI, or what Intel call the ambient digital twin. This is the digital version or digital twin of you that exists in the digital world. This is your personal digital avatar, or even your personal digital concierge service. It is made of your data DNA and other information to create a personalized AI dedicated to serve and collaborate on behalf of an individual to optimize his or her human life experiences throughout a city. This digital self may follow you throughout the city, moving throughout the smart city technology infrastructure. It may be located on your phone, or most likely reside within your car. It may reside in one location, or spread itself across many locations. So in smart cities, AI will be deployed across the edge primarily and also in the cloud. It will be on our street furniture, on our lampposts, on our street lights, on the traffic lights. It will be deployed, it will exist in mobile assets such as your car, trains, buses, scooters. It will be integrated throughout the built environment. AI for smart cities is coming right into the edge of your experience to deliver these kind of services. Public safety, to make sure that you're safe. Mobility, so you have a great transportation and mobility experience. Health and well-being, making sure you get great water and great food. And also to support your life services. Do you start to see that your digital self will be interacting with other AIs within the smart city infrastructure to collaborate on ensuring you get the best life experiences? This is a brand new set of thinking for AI and its next level of evolution. So smart city artificial intelligence deployed throughout the built environment will be collaborating with an individual's digital twin, their human AI, ambient digital twin or personal digital avatar. The overall outcome is that every citizen and each community within a city is securely and proactively supported by the digital world in order to deliver the best physical world experiences. So let me ask you a question. For every single sustainable development goal, can this be replicated? Will it look the same? These are things we need to consider. These innovations are happening. We need to consider how AI will play with the individual digital self of people in poverty, that don't have social equity, that basically need good affordable housing and great education. This is not a time to be faint-hearted. This is a time to be brave. Okay, to conclude, I wanted to share some recommendations with you. The current global and local challenges that we are all facing are encouraging us to create a meaningful future. So these are some of the recommendations. Artificial Intelligence Alliance for the SDGs. We should have a global alliance, we should have regional alliances, and we should have national alliances. It needs an AI SDG exec team, and it should have an AI champion per SDG. It's important that we research the AI landscape and identify the purpose and role that AI plays in each sustainability development goal. We need a startup mentality to develop AI frameworks for each SDG. Maybe we create certifications of AI in each SDG. We set the standard. We should invest in a living lab to be able to validate and test AIs for each SDG. And we absolutely need an SDG digital twin strategy, and also look at the personal digital avatar, or human.ai. So acting with a citizen of the future mindset, aligning in purpose with a strong collaboration ethos, dedicated to creating triple bottom line societies, we have the opportunity to steward into reality AI as an enabling partner to work with us, to achieve our goals, and create a thrilling future. Generations to come will be deeply thankful. Thank you very much.
Matthew, thank you very much for taking the time to be here. Hopefully the Coke is good. I'm a Pepsi person. It's not your fault. It's okay. We had another technical difficulty with getting the right drink, so apologies. Just want to give a little bit of time for questions. This was so engaging, but we do want to be respectful of time. I see you itching to ask. I can see it. We'll get you. I can see it. Please.
So, I've used the information web and service of the web of life. And I've been doing that for about 25 years. And I'm really concerned that people are losing their skills to actually work with nature, to do something like grow a tomato. So to feed themselves, to take care of their communities. There's a real world. So where's the RL that goes with the AI?
So I get all my inspiration from nature. So nature plays an important role. So
Direct way, not information, because we have a lot of data about nature. But
So-
we're losing nature. We lost 3 billion birds, right? They just reported in the last 50 years, just in this country.
Right, so I think that if nature is part of your DNA, which it sounds like it is, or for an individual, then your digital avatar will be mindful of that. And so will support you in maybe ordering great tomatoes to ensure you basically have great weather reports to ensure that the tomatoes are growing optimally. To talk about, to connect you into communities where you might want to share your tomatoes for those that can't afford fruit. Basically, the digital self will be programmed with an individual's DNA and kind of desire in terms of what thriving looks like for you. So it will be programmed to support you in that.
Follow.
Nature's important, I get it.
But
The human,
I think many people my age who know that we came to a crossroads in around 1995, where IT versus what is, sort of the bedrock of sustainable development. And we took the road of let's go with IT. Let's have the boxes. Let's not make sure that the world is thriving for everybody.
yeah, so assume that tomatoes, they have certain benefits for certain bodily functions, right? So you could imagine that basically AI would steward and ensure that there's sufficient tomatoes being grown and delivered into communities in order to keep their health and well-being. And that's really quite complicated. It deals with all sorts of complicated stuff behind it.
Deserts right here.
Yeah, but if you look at the carbon footprint, it's much easier. Should we take this offline? Okay.
You had your hand, Ms. Crump, yes. You have the last question, unfortunately, and then we're going to allow folks to kind of have a little bit more offline conversations with you as well. Please.
So, we humans are a little bit faulty, and we have like sometimes impressions, like think we like something or we say we like it, but then you actually like, like, yeah, I really want to grow tomatoes, or whatever it is. But back in your head, maybe eat the tomatoes and I didn't like them really, and just the things that say that you're hidden from yourself that you don't realize. Are those things going to help build your digital self? Are they going to be there?
So, okay, so what you're actually, there's an interesting conversation we had downstairs around the development of intelligence, right? So we're a form of organic intelligence, and we have a natural creative mindset within us, right? It's programmed in our DNA to create. And so AI, silicon intelligence, which is what AI is a natural form of our creation. If you're talking about the unconscious, I think, or about biases, I think, or culture, I think, or consciousness, I really think is what you're really asking, then I think that is a very long way off. I think Elon will play with this, that's for sure. But wouldn't it be better to understand what holds us back in our unconscious if we knew what that was, so we could be better individuals? Maybe it will help us with that and our evolutionary path. Just an idea.
I know I said no more questions. I'll give one more question. I'm going to pan the room. You are the very, 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 because you have not asked a question all day, last question, and then we will close for tonight.
So we talked a little bit earlier about the risk of AI, and one of them was mentioned too, is about job losses, and you pointed out through your graph. And you mentioned like some of the roles that we might be able to keep after we have more AI and technology.
Yeah.
But do you foresee any new industries opening that would like, be an opportunity for people who lost their jobs? Because not everybody's going to be like this creative person or economist or CEO.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you very much. And I think responsible nations should be planning for the future and training children and retraining people into these new job sets. In terms of the new types of jobs, I think elderly healthcare and companionship is going to be something that, and Fuli agrees with that, is that we're growing older, we're living longer, and we're growing, we'll be around here a lot more. So I think that elderly companionship and elderly care is something that's going to be, particularly, we can't keep people in hospitals, they have to be in home. It's about remote management in the home and remote healthcare. So I think healthcare is going to be a massive, massive growth job where AI will create new jobs, and for that AI-human partnership, that sweet spot in that quadrant there. So definitely healthcare.
I want to give you a round of applause again. Thank you very much for everything that you brought here today. We will definitely be endeavoring to continue the conversation. I want to bring up the two folks who helped organize this panel to begin to please come up to the front. If we can respectfully, this is really our first time doing the summit, so thank you all for believing in us to be here. Thank you in particular, so thank you for staying with us all day long, so round of applause for yourselves. I'm tremendously proud to work with the two of you on this project, so thank the two of you for being here and really innovating this idea and creating the space and helping to establish this space, so thank you. Let's give these two gentlemen a round of applause. Special, special, special shout out to the Internet Society, so that those who are not able to be here, thank you very much for live streaming this discussion. Again, we want to continue the conversation. Scandinavia House, like, round of applause for these folks here. I don't know if I don't know if Victoria has AI in her brain, but like she like anticipated almost every need that we've needed before I asked the question. So I know Victoria isn't here, but I want to honor and thank Victoria for really, really, really helping to set this place up, to keep it going, for anticipating every need we could have had. They've graciously hosted us, so I want to thank them, really, really thank and appreciate them. One more round of applause for the Scandinavia House. The volunteers who really like at the last second grab more coffee, meet people, sign people in, let people in for free who we should have probably paid. Like all those kinds of things, like really thank them for taking the time to be here. So please thank you. And saving the last panel. In the last few minutes that we have with you all, I think, and I know each of us are going to take a chance to kind of reflect a little bit and give thanks as well, but I think it just would be apropos if each of us give a chance to reflect on the day in any way that we feel that can add to the conversation. Again, we're trying to create a space. This space we think is unique. We think this space is important. We think this space is new. And we want you to be a part of that space. This is not the last time we plan to see you. Truly, we are interested in maintaining the relationships with and amongst each other because we have a significant agenda ahead of us. I mean, I said earlier, the planet isn't going anywhere. There will not be a destruction where the planet is going to, disappear. The reality is that we may not be able to survive on this planet. Better yet, we may not be able to thrive in the ways that we should as a species. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that we have an opportunity ahead of us. There's a lot of risks, and we talked about them. There's a lot of threats, and we definitely talked about those. But there's a lot of opportunity ahead of us. And so take the time, please, both Ahmed and Rami, to invite everyone to continue in any way that you feel appropriate. I'm going to let Ahmed go first, and then I'll let you go because you are the kind of founder of this baby, so you have been able to birth it, and I want you to get the chance to have the last words on it.
All right. Following in Yusuf's words, I do want to just start by thanking every one of you guys for coming, thanking all of our speakers for coming. This is basically us trying to magnetize the right people and let the magic happen because we've put the right ingredients on the table. And I think we've made something good today. A lot of people have already come to me giving me feedback on what they liked. But just as importantly, I enjoy criticism. I think that's where growth happens. I want you guys to give me feedback. I will give my number out to anyone who asks for it. I'll give my email out to anyone who asks for it. Like Yusuf said, this isn't the last time we want to bring together these types of minds with this kind of large of a group to bring together these kinds of issues. We want to make a meaningful space where AI and the SDGs can be addressed together concurrently, and we can work on solving the world's most complex problems because we have the right people in the room. I want recommendations for events. I want recommendations for what you guys think we could do better. I want recommendations for what strategic partnerships you think we could invest in, whether your organization or your friends or someone you think would benefit from literally just being in this space or a similar space, whether in a few months, whether next year around this time. I welcome every single one of you to come up to me. I'll be around. Just feel free to give me your contact info. I'll give you mine, and we'll be in touch. And honestly, in closing, thank you again for coming, and thank you for making today possible.
Yusuf, Ahmed, thank you guys. I have a long list of folks to thank as well, but today would not have been possible were it not for two of the best friends that I have and two of the best coworkers, colleagues, comrades, and allies that I have in pretty much any project that I've been fortunate to be a part of. So I'd like to ask you guys to join me in giving a heartfelt thank you to Yusuf and Ahmed. Now, Yusuf mentioned this is the first time that we've held the AI Sustainable Development Summit, which is true, but we've held events before. Last year, we held the SDG Blockchain Forum, a series of events that took place right around August, September, October, also marrying the worlds of technology and sustainable development, looking at the use cases where emerging technologies such as blockchain and data architectures can be an enabler for the SDGs. Through that, we were able to foster the dialogue and the conversation to grow these smaller events into what we have today. And even before that, Yusuf and Ahmed have been there in a number of events that we've hosted as part of our collective efforts, as well as supporting those who are among our close friends as well. So things like this don't happen overnight, and humble and small as this conference is, I think it was among the more intimate UN Week conferences or Global Goals Week conferences that I've been a part of, yet I found it the most engaging and fulfilling among perhaps all of the conferences that I've been a part of during this UN Week. And it's because of the fact that people came with an open heart and an open mind and an eagerness to learn about a frontier that is rarely explored from the perspective that we've had a chance to dive into it today. So going forward, let's continue, as Yusuf said and as Ahmed has said, in building relationships that can foster substantive growth. How can we invest into you as individuals and have you up here on stage with us next year? How can we invest into your organizations? How can we invest into the work that you're doing? Because ultimately, this is a platform that we're creating not only to invite speakers to join us and to share their remarks, but we want to take away meaningful lessons that can integrate into the work that we're doing so that we have something to show for it. We have economic, sustainable growth and development. I'd also like to thank our volunteers who came from as far as Syracuse, New Jersey, right? Let's give a round of applause for everybody who behind the scenes made this work. I'd also like to thank by name Max, who's standing in that back corner. He's been one of our volunteers and our intern at the AI Sustainable Development Group, and he's also looking for a job. So he is one of the best qualified people I have ever worked with, who brings so much rigor and insight to the table. He's a remarkable asset to our team, and I'll get mad at you for hiring him away from me, but I would wish him the best regardless. I'd like to thank Dr. Lee McKnight particularly. What an astounding friend, colleague, mentor. What a remarkable human being that we've had a chance to work with. It is by the blessing of his work with Yusuf that we've had the opportunity to welcome him today. So Dr. Lee, thank you for all of the support that you've lent institutionally and as a friend. We look forward to supporting your work and building greater relationships with you going forward. To everyone who's come from near and far, to our partners who've hosted us here in the Scandinavia House on what was quite frankly a short moment's notice, to the Internet Society for recording today's conversation and sharing it with the world, to the partners from AWS, to DataCamp who've supported us and made this possible, to Global Goals Week and the UN Foundation and the UNDP for creating an ecosystem where every person can put together an independent event fostered by a community of people that are passionate about the Sustainable Development Goals and have a unique angle to contribute to the conversation. To Climate Week NYC, which is a coalition that's part of a nonprofit movement to raise awareness for how people, civil society, and businesses can contribute to climate action and climate awareness. We want to thank the coalitions that bring people together for UN Week and throughout the year. We are a product. We are a group of individuals that are standing truly on the shoulders of giants. And it's only with our continuous contributions to this movement of raising awareness for sustainable development and contributing in the ways that we can individually and as a team that things like this come together. Thank you all for coming today. This is going to be the first of many AI Sustainable Development Summits to come, and we will see you next year and sooner than that. Thank you all.
Of course he wants to drop the mic. Again, this is not the last thing that we're going to do. Just a brief reflection. We have a unique, tremendous responsibility ahead of us. It's not just about investing in this group or our group investing in your work. It's about us working collaboratively to envision and create the future that we want. Really, the SDGs and the 2030 Agenda emerges out of a conversation and an aspiration for the future that we want. So we are all to take part in that future. Thank you. Have a great evening. Take some food, take some donuts, take some water, take some pans. Don't take their utensils because that's theirs. But please, have a great night, and thank you again for supporting us.